So hi there again. I'm Jeff. This is Matt. We're the co-founders of CPUsage. We're excited to be here today. Thank you very much. What CPUsage does is we make it easy to consume massive amounts of compute power in the cloud. That means we're a platform ideal for scientists, researchers, and software developers that need to run hundreds or thousands of compute instances at places like AWS, SoftLayer, or Rackspace. And what we do is we allow them to get up and running in about 15 minutes. Without us, that's a process that would probably take a few weeks, but likely a few months of software development to make all those instances work together as one network. We're out of Portland, Oregon. We're a small 4-person team. We recently launched the product just a few weeks back. Matt and I come from backgrounds at companies like Nike and Intel, where we've each spent more than 10 years. And we've got some great advisors and investors out of Silicon Valley and out of Los Angeles. Mike Jones of Science, Damien Selfors of Media Temple, and Ash Patel of Murado Venture Partners. So we're excited to tell you a little bit more about us now.
Okay, now we're going to go into the 3 questions. So basically, there's 3 minutes for the first one, 2 for the second, and 1 for the last. So if you give us 3 pieces of information that you didn't give us yesterday because you didn't have time, that you could share with the judges that could maybe help your case.
Sure. So yesterday we talked a whole lot about our current product, which is that platform as a service that runs on top of Amazon Web Services. But really, when Jeff and I look at CPUsage, we're way more than that. So going back to the conversation that somebody had earlier about thinking big, Jeff and I have a massive vision for CPUsage, and that vision is to make compute a true utility, where you don't have to think about where that compute power is coming from. You plug in and you consume it. And if it's, if here it's no longer making sense, you can switch it over here, and they didn't have to think anything about that. And so there's many things we're doing. That's a huge problem to accomplish. That's going to take us a long time, and it's an iterative process. And so the next iteration of the process for us for taking care of that task, we're doing a few different things. So extending this platform as a service past Amazon Web Services. So by the end of the year, we're going to be moving on to Google Compute Engine and Windows Azure. And then moving forward into 2014, we'll be bringing on many of the other public platform infrastructure providers. And then the next thing is we really want to move into the private cloud. So there's a lot of companies out there that are afraid to go to the public cloud or have decided that utilizing servers on premises really makes sense for them. And there's tools like OpenStack now to make that a lot easier for them. But there's still an issue with managing hundreds or thousands of instances across that. And really where we think that we can provide a lot of value is making it dead simple for these customers to consume their own compute power and then build a hybrid cloud model where we can extend that compute power beyond their public or their private on-prem cloud onto something like Amazon Web Services or a SoftLayer or a Rackspace.
Wow, you saved time. So now you've got more. That was the 3, right? Okay.
Sure.
So you've got now actually 4 minutes if I stop babbling here. What's the biggest challenge your startup has faced thus far? How did you overcome it? So you've got 2 minutes for that, and you could either do 3 minutes or 1 minute. The last one.
Sure. So like a lot of startups, we have faced challenges. We've been around for more than a year now, and we've gone through a pivot. So going back to the question that was, or the comment that came up earlier, when do you pivot and when do you persevere? We went through the process of persevering for a while until we realized it was time to pivot. We probably should have pivoted a little bit sooner, but now that we have pivoted, we're looking forward, and we're happy with what we've done. So, to be honest with you, that was a challenge, but it's also an exciting one because it's put us where we are today. If we want to get into the weeds of what are the challenges we face going forward, getting into the weeds, one of the things we think about a lot is that the problem we solve is also the biggest sales challenge we have, and that is that our customers have already spent months, sometimes years, developing software, developing environments, and locking themselves into an infrastructure. And we're asking them to come and deploy on the CPUsage platform, which doesn't offer anywhere near the same level of lock-in, but it's a big ask for somebody that's maybe just put their job on the line and spent $1 million deploying to AWS, and now they can't deploy somewhere else. And so there's a little bit of a sales challenge there, and we're going to combat it by continuing to build out our team of great people, working with our advisors and our investors to get the right folks in the sales and marketing roles, and help us put together the indisputable facts about the benefits of working with our platform.
Okay. If selected, the winner, how would you utilize this cash prize?
So we thought a lot about this question. We only got 1 minute to answer, but I think it's probably the most important question.
We actually have 2 minutes left.
Oh, I do have
yeah,
2 minutes
yeah.
left. It's an important question, not because the $10,000 is, and not because of the dollar figure, but because there's so many different things we could do with it. So we could give you a very cliche answer. We could also give you a joking answer and tell you we're going to go blow it on the strip. But the truth of the matter is what we're going to do with the money when we win is we're going to use it to celebrate with our team. We have a team of 4 people, and we had someone in from eBay in our offices checking out our technology, and they told us that the team of 4, which is actually only 3 engineers, so I'm not an engineer, with 3 engineers, they said that they've done the job of 10 engineers. We've got an amazing team. We ask a lot of them. We ask a lot of their families and spouses. So I think we'll take the money and probably use it to show them how much we appreciate them, spend some time with them. We're from Portland, and we love to go to Bend, Oregon for the great recreation. So I think we might spend a weekend out there with spouses and significant others and let them know that all the hard work they've put in, all the belief that they've put into this product and the sacrifices they've made are something that are appreciated. And we try to do that every day, but sometimes we forget that we do really need to thank the people around us.
Good answer. And you're ahead of time, too. Wow.
Well, our product saves people time,
Yeah.
so it's natural that we are
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Okay, so let's open it up for the judges. Oh, yeah, Mike.
We were talking a little bit earlier about 2 segments that you're going after, the media segment, I think the other one is health. Could you talk about the segment size if you look at bottoms up, so number of customers times price, how big is that those 2 markets?
Sure. So the 2 segments that we're targeted at initially, one's the life sciences and the other one is the media space. So on the life science side of things, we know that in the U.S., which is a little bit easier to track as far as hard numbers on customers, there's probably about 6,000 or 7,000 life sciences companies. They tend to average a very small number of employees, so there's a couple big companies that are at the high end, but it's very common to have an 8, 10, 15-person engineering company. We know that they'll spend, at the low end, they're probably about $2,000 a month in spend in the cloud for their high performance and high throughput computing. Typical is around $20,000 a month. The larger companies will spend $100,000 a month. On the media side, there's a more broad range of spend. There's also a couple different segments. So if we were to look at like movie post-production, if we were to look to add online content, media distribution, there's probably about 25,000 total companies. There's maybe 300 of them are in the online video space, but tens of thousands in these small production shops. And their spend in the cloud ranges from $500 a month to $50,000 a month. Really kind of depending on who they are and what they're doing. We do know that if we look more broadly, if we look at high-performance computing and high-throughput computing, high-performance computing is about $29 billion globally in spend per year. Most of that's offline, so $28 billion of that is spent offline, $1 billion is spent online. So that's already a significant spend, but it's a very small piece of the total, and we know more of it's going to be moving to the cloud. The high throughput compute space, which is a little bit more vague, that's estimated to be as much as $6 billion of the total cloud spend already. So these are the transactional, batch, background, and big data workloads that we're ideal for as well.
Okay, next question.
So I was glad to hear you talk about your products beyond Amazon, but does that keep you up at night thinking about Amazon maybe going into the space?
No, so we don't worry about them going into this space for a couple reasons. So first, it's that because they've been great partners to us, they love what we're doing. One of their staff members told us that we solve a problem that 100% of their high-performance compute customers have. So they love what we're doing. They see the value it brings to them. Naturally, there is a worry. I guess to an extent, there's always a little bit of a worry that someone could come in and do this.
Yeah, I meant more broadly. What are some of the barriers?
To be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of barrier for them to create a platform. They have brilliant engineers and a ton of money. But what we do is we sit across platforms, and we can sit across the public and private cloud, and that's something that becomes much more difficult for Amazon to do. So I don't think Amazon's going to build a platform to help Windows Azure customers consume compute more easily. We can do that. It's hard to imagine them building tools for OpenStack at Amazon, because Amazon's whole thing is, hey, do everything in the public cloud. Don't worry about that. So while they could do this for their customers, they can't do it for the entire market. And then while they have about 65% of the public cloud market, they have a very small spend when you get into more private specialized, or small market share when you get into private specialized use.
Okay.
So I understand the cloud and how everyone's going to the cloud, and that all makes sense. But I'm still confused about what problem you're solving here. So is it lock-in, like CloudSwitch is a company that purportedly lets you solve that lock-in problem so you can easily switch? Or is it price or complexity? What is it that you're doing that's different?
So the main problem that we're solving here is the complexity piece. So these are for researchers, scientists, engineers who know how to run their single application on their own computer in their office. But what they don't know how to do is go and figure out how to use 500, 1,000, 10,000 instances in the cloud. So we're not trying to solve a problem here for people that are running 3 web servers on Amazon Web Services. We're trying to solve a problem for somebody who has to analyze 10 million or 100 million molecules, that they know how to analyze 5 molecules on their own office computer, but now they have to scale that out to 10,000 instances in the cloud. So that's the first thing. The second piece is, going into the future, that lock-in piece that you talked about. There's a lot of customers that are spending a whole lot of time on Amazon Web Services or other infrastructure providers, and they can't, that's a sunk cost for them. They can't, if Microsoft lowers their price, they can't go ahead and re-spend that time going and making it work on Amazon or on Microsoft. And so what we do is we use containerization technology, make it dead simple for us to take their workload, distribute it anywhere, whether that's on-prem, whether it's on Amazon Web Services or any other infrastructure provider.
Okay. One more question. We got about 30 seconds or less.
So following on to that, will that be dynamic in real time, that you'll be able to spread that across multiple platforms, or is that going to have to be a decision to be made to move over to it?
So right now it's a decision. So we're going to have it so that the users have to specify in their API request which infrastructure they want to run on and which type of instance. But in the future, what we really want to do is kind of get at this idea of, again, going back to that whole concept of a utility, them not having to manage or think about that. And so they could have a sliding scale, for instance, that says, I want the lowest cost infrastructure for the type of task that I'm running. And we can go out and benchmark 100 different instance types on 15 different public infrastructure providers with their exact workload, which is the fastest for them, or which on the other end of the scale or the spectrum, what is the cheapest for them, no matter how long it's going to take. I just need it to get done dead cheap, and we can give them those options without having to think about how they're going to go and scale that out and test all those different infrastructure providers.
Okay, I think we're out of time, actually. Does that help? Good.
All right.
Okay, great job.
Thank you very much.
All right.